You're short on time, the gym closes in 45 minutes, and your workout still has 6 exercises left on it. The instinct is to rush through and skip the last 2 movements entirely. Supersets solve that problem, pairing to exercises back to back with little or no rest between them. But the real question is whether they're just a time saver or whether they can genuinely build more muscle than training the normal way. Let's start with what a superset actually is. It means performing 2 exercises back to back with minimal or no rest between them, then resting before repeating the pair. It's different from a circuit, which strings together 3 or more exercises, and different from a drop set, which reduces weight on the same exercise instead of switching movements. Supersets fall into a few distinct categories, and the category you choose matters far more than most lifters realize. Agonist-antagonist supersets pair exercises that work opposing muscle groups: chest paired with back biceps paired with triceps, quads paired with hamstrings. While one muscle group works, the opposing muscle group is resting, and that's the mechanism that makes this style so effective. Muscle group supersets pair to exercises that train the same muscle, like a bench press followed immediately by a chest fly. This compounds fatigue on a single muscle with no built-in recovery window. An unrelated muscle supersets pair exercises for muscles that don't interact at all. These mostly exist to save time rather than to produce any specific training benefit. So what does the research actually show? A systematic review and meta-analysis pooling data across multiple resistance training studies found that superset protocols reduced total training time by roughly 37% compared to traditional set structures, while producing similar chronic adaptations in maximal strength, strength endurance, and muscle hypertrophy. In plain terms, when total training volume is held equal, supersets and straight sets build essentially the same amount of muscle. Supersets just get you there in a lot less time. The same review flagged a real trade-off. Superset protocols produce higher blood lactate concentrations, greater energy cost per session, and higher perceived exertion than straight set training. That's the price of efficiency. Your sessions feel harder minute for minute, even though the total muscle building stimulus ends up comparable. This lines up with what's been observed specifically for agonist-antagonist pairings. Because the two muscle groups aren't drawing from the same recovery pool, lifters using this style are able to complete their sets with rep counts and loads close to what they'd manage doing straight sets alone, while cutting total session time roughly in half in some study protocols. Now, let's talk about why muscle group pairing makes or breaks the result. Agonist-antagonist pairings work because of shared recovery independence. Your biceps and triceps don't pull from the same local energy stores in any meaningful way. Training one doesn't blunt your capacity to train the other immediately afterward, so you get real-time savings without a real performance cost. Same muscle group pairings create a fatigue trap. If you superset a leg press with a leg extension, both hammering your quads, the leg extension set is going to suffer badly. You'll get fewer reps, less weight, and a worse mind-muscle connection, precisely because the muscle hasn't had any chance to recover. Some lifters use this deliberately as an intensity technique for the last exercise of a session, but it is not a good default strategy across a full workout. Unrelated muscle pairings are mostly just logistics. Pairing a calf raise with a shoulder press saves time and doesn't hurt either exercise, but it doesn't provide any training synergy beyond that either. Here's how to program supersets correctly. Pick true agonist-antagonist pairs. Chest press with a back row, bicep curl with a tricep extension, leg extension with a leg curl. Keep rest between the two exercises short, but not zero, if your form starts to suffer. Rest 60 to 120 seconds after completing both exercises before starting the next round. This is the rest period that actually protects your performance across the session, and cutting it too short is the most common programming mistake. Save true 1 rep max strength, work for straight sets. Heavy compound lifts like a squat, deadlift, or bench press at low rep ranges, close to your max, depend on being fully recovered before every set. Supersetting these, even with an antagonist pairing, introduces enough residual fatigue to compromise your heaviest lifts. And don't superset every exercise in a session. Using supersets for 2 or 3 exercise pairs while keeping your primary heavy lifts as straight sets gets you most of the time savings without touching the parts of your workout where recovery matters most. Here's what a well-structured session looks like in practice. Start with your heaviest compound lift as a straight set, resting fully between sets as normal. Then move into supersets for the rest of the session. Pair a lat pull down with a shoulder press. Minimal rest between the 2 exercises. 90 seconds, rest after completing both. Follow with a bicep curl paired with a tricep push down, same rest structure. This keeps your heaviest, most technically demanding lift fully rested while compressing the accessory portion of your workout. The right way to use supersets also shifts depending on what you're training for. For pure hypertrophy, agonist-antagonist supersets are close to a free upgrade, since they produce equivalent muscle growth to straight sets at a fraction of the time cost. For fat loss and general conditioning, the reduced rest periods keep your heart rate elevated throughout the session, adding a real conditioning component on top of the strength stimulus. For strength and powerlifting style training, supersets have the narrowest application. Your main lifts need full recovery between every set, so save supersets for accessory work only. And for general fitness and time crunch schedules, supersets are close to the ideal default, since it's often the difference between fitting in a full session or skipping the gym entirely. A few groups should be more careful with this technique. Beginners still learning technique benefit more from the extra rest between straight sets, since that recovery window gives them time to reset their form. Anyone training through a joint issue should be cautious with supersets involving loaded compound movements. And anyone already managing a high overall training load should be thoughtful about stacking extra metabolic stress on top of an already demanding program. Let's cover a few common mistakes that undercut supersets. Pairing two exercises for the same muscle group as a default strategy quietly reduces total training volume because fatigue tanks your performance on the second movement of every pair. Rushing the round-to-round rest period to save even more time causes your later rounds to suffer. Using supersets for your heaviest strength work is where the fatigue cost outweighs the time savings by the widest margin. And treating supersets as automatically superior to straight sets misses the point. The research is clear that they produce similar muscle growth, not more. Supersets don't build muscle faster than straight sets in the sense of producing more growth per set. They build the same amount of muscle in significantly less time, which is exactly the problem most lifters actually have. Stick to agonist-antagonist pairings. Protect your two-round rest period. Keep your heaviest strength work as straight sets, and supersets become one of the most reliable tools available for getting a complete, effective workout done when the clock is working against you. Full breakdown, with sample workouts and superset variations worth knowing, is linked below.